So, you know how I sit here and work on film while we talk sometimes? You can hear me doing it in the background, just like pulling film strips out and stuff.
Yeah, I sure do.
I just did something amazing. So, Trent got me into film photography years ago.
Really? That was Trent's thing? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got me into it. It was totally his. He said, dude, you need to buy a film camera. I was like, I'm not going to buy a film camera. That's silly. And then he just kept saying it, and finally he was taking pictures one day, and he just put it in my hand. He's like, take a picture. And I took a picture. I was like, okay, whatever. And then he showed it to me or something. I don't remember exactly how it went down. Long story short, he forced the issue at some point, and then I instantly fell in love with film. So
yeah,
the most amazing thing happened. I got an opportunity to go to Rochester, New York, to the Kodak plant. Dude, I can't tell you how incredible that was. Like, I'm sitting here holding a strip of film. It's like the part you cut off. That's, there's no negatives on it. It's just like the extra film. And it's got all the little sprocket holes in the film. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I now have a mental model of the machine that puts the sprocket holes in the film. I know how it works. I know how many teeth are on it. I know how many punches are on it. I don't know, man. It's like, I cannot believe how much they showed me. It's incredible. And so, anyway.
So it's a machine that I'd always assumed that it was just a room full of orphans with a little nail set and a tack hammer.
That's the way they use
tapping those out.
No,
okay,
not.
Sure.
No, but it's incredible, dude. And so I look forward to making that video about that. But something else happened in Rochester.
Yeah, quick question, though. Is that where Eastman Kodak started? Is it Rochester, New York, you said?
Yeah, there's this whole Kodak Park there. It's amazing, dude. It's like this huge industrial complex. And I thought that Kodak just made film and they made some digital cameras back in the day or whatever. They do make film, but they make film for way more things than just photography. They make it for printed circuit boards. They make it for all kinds of stuff. And so most of their business is not film photography. I didn't know that.
Huh.
Yeah. Fascinating.
No, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Is it silver dependent still?
Yeah, silver halide, sometimes called silver halide, depending on who you talk to. Yes.
Okay.
And so I actually got to see the pot where they melt, and melt is the term that they use to make these concoctions. And dude, we cannot open this right now because, dude, all right. It's just too much. I know a lot about how film is made. Let me tell you this. It involves laminar flow, which you know how I feel about laminar flow. I get all tingly and stuff.
Yeah, I do. That's the one that's all chaotic and spray, like if you put your thumb over the end of a hose and just blast it, right?
You shut your mouth.
Laminar.
It's turbulence.
Why are we in a fight? I don't even understand you.
So anyway, it's awesome. But something else happened in Rochester, New York, and that's why I bring this up, because I want to tell you about that.
Okay.
All
right.
So I got a buddy here in town. His name is John. And John said, hey, Rochester, you got to go have a garbage plate while you're in Rochester. I said,
what now?
Yeah, exactly. I said, what? He said, I don't even know, dude. He said, what I do know is that I had a buddy that used to live in Rochester. This is John talking. And John's like, and we used to go to this place. It had a really weird name. It was called Nick Tauho's. I think that's how you say it, or Tauhaw. You don't really. It's
Cow hose.
It's Nick, N-I-C-K, November, India, Charlie, Kilo. Tauho.
You labored a little bit on Charlie and Kilo.
I did, because I was thinking about the next word, which is Tauho, which is T-A-H-O-U, which is Tango, Alpha, Hotel, Oscar, Uniform. So Nick Tauhaw. And they have these things called the garbage plate. And John's like, dude, if you want some good food that's really bad for you, go get a garbage plate. And I said, what is it?
Who doesn't want that?
He's like, I don't know how to describe this. And so with your permission, I would like to describe a garbage plate to you. And then I think that'll lead us into an interesting discussion.
You had me at Tauho's.
Okay. So anyway, we Google, Trent and I are up there. We're all excited. We're going to go to Kodak, and we're like, okay, it's 7:00. If we tried really hard, we could make it to Niagara Falls right now, and we could take pictures of Niagara Falls. Or we could go eat this thing called a garbage plate, and then we could get some sleep, and then we could be ready to go tomorrow for Kodak, we could have our brains fresh and all that. What do you want to do? And so we're like, I don't know, man. And so like we're debating on what to do. And we're like, dude, we need our brains tomorrow. Let's just go eat a garbage plate and then we'll go tomorrow. So we put it in Google.
Okay, and you understand what you were giving up, right? You've been to Niagara Falls?
I have been to Niagara Falls. Trent has not. So we did give up quite a bit.
You did?
Yeah. I want to go see the statue of Nikola Tesla at Niagara Falls because I haven't seen that with my adult brain, nor did I understand the impact of it. But anyway, long story short, we made a decision. We're men of action. We're going to do the thing, right? So we put...
Lies do not become us. Yes.
We put Nick Towhall's in the old Googler there. We navigate to it. It's on Main Street. And so we go down there, and there's just this huge warehouse. It's a brick warehouse, and it's right next to like a railroad track kind of thing. And we're looking, and we're like, man, there's nobody there. Like, what's going on? I mean, there's like one car in the back, and so I said, man, I think this is a good place to get shot, but let's just try it. So we drove up, and we went to the back to park next to the car, and there's not an entrance, and there's nobody there, and this car looks kind of sketch, and like, well, maybe they're closed or something. I don't know. So we drive around, nobody. Get back on Main Street, and we're going to leave, and then Trent goes, hey, dude, check it out. There's a light on in what looks like the basement or the bottom floor there. You don't think that's it, do you? He's like, I think it is. And I said, okay, well, I'll just park across this.
So there's no actual indication this place is open or wants you to be there.
Correct.
It's just a light on in a basement, and you're going on a hunch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is my speed. Continue.
Just remember, we're on the hunt for a garbage plate. So just...
yes, that's the name. Okay.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, well, let's just park over here in this place that says, don't park here or we'll tow your car. We'll just park here, and then we'll just go over and check it out. So we did, and we walked across, and sure enough, there's a light on the closer we get, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to pull on this door handle. It's not going to open, and then we're going to leave, and it's all going to be good. We tried. We can tell John we tried. Walked over there, pull on the door handle, and it opens. And we're like, oh, crap, we're committed. It opened. So, all right. Well, I guess we're going to sit where we can see the car. So, because they said they were going to tow it. So anyway, we walked in, and there's this lovely lady behind the counter, and she's wearing her mask and all that kind of stuff. And then there's an old dude over by this grill looking thing, and I'm like, what is this? And I look up on the wall, and it said Nick Towhall's Hots, home of the garbage plate. And it's got this picture that appears to be, I don't know, I'll text it to you real quick, but the picture, it looks like somebody drew it, and it has this like drawn steam on top of the plate as if to say, oh, this is a hot thing, and this is scintillation coming off the food. But it looks more like...
So like when I draw turds for my kids, it's the lines that go off the top of the turd. When
exactly.
I draw that for them, and
yeah,
like send it with them as a note for them to open later during their school day. Surprise, your dad loves you. Also, here's a turd with little lines coming off the top.
Yeah, it looks like smell, or it looks like, sometimes when you draw a fly buzzing around poop or something, you draw these little like, this is where do you see the picture? Did it come through?
Yeah, I see it. Or spidey sense a little bit.
Yeah. And so
I see it. Okay.
We walk in. And
what the heck is this?
It looks nasty, doesn't it? You see?
Yes, it looks nasty. There's so many jokes.
Yeah.
No.
I know. And so we walk in, and the lady's super nice, and she goes, hey, what can I do for you? And I said, you guys are about to close, aren't you? Because Google said it closed in like 10 minutes. She goes, yeah, it's good, though. We'll just, we fired the grill back up for you. This is me trying to do a New York accent. Just roll with it. Just roll with it.
Okay, I won't even.
I'm from Alabama.
Yep. No, I hear it. It sounded like New York to me.
Whatever, dude. So anyway, she's like, yeah, we'll fire the grill back up for you. And I was like, great. That sounds wonderful. Well, what is the easiest thing for you to make? She's like, well, what do you want? I said, I don't know. My friend said to come get a garbage plate. She goes, yeah, I know that, obviously, but what kind do you want? And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. I do not know how to order a garbage plate. I will just have the regular. And she's looking at me like I'm stupid, but, like a nice kind of stupid, like, oh, how stupid. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. That's very kind. That kind of. And so she goes, no problem. And she turns
Bless your heart.
Yeah, exactly. She said, bless your heart with body language. And she turns back to the guy at the grill who's wearing a U.S. Navy retired hat. She's like, hey, 2 garbage plates for these guys. He's like, what kind? I don't care, just whatever. He's like, all right.
Your accent keeps changing.
I'm doing
2 garbage plates, man.
I'm doing,
like in northern New York with the accent.
I'm doing my best, dude. I don't know how to do this. I am laying myself bare before
accents.
you. Look,
keep doing accents.
Is this not a safe place? Can I not do accents here? All right.
Oh, it's safe, but it's also safe for me to mock you. Both has to be true. It's not safe if I can't mock it.
So, okay.
No, continue. All right.
So this Joker's
Jamaican,
like,
North African, Scandinavian, Russian lady.
Yes, exactly.
From New York.
So
okay.
So the guy's like, yeah, man, we'll fire it back up for you, okay? And so he fires it up, and then she's like, what do you want to drink? And I'm like, and I'll get Trent. I'm like, and I look, and it's got all the bad sodas are the options. It's like Sierra Mist, Sunkissed, like Pepsi, but the label is so faded that it looks like bad Pepsi. You know what I'm trying to say.
All Pepsi is bad Pepsi. Yes.
Well, yeah, all the bad drinks. And so I just said, yeah, I'll go with water. Is that cool? She's like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And so she puts a couple of slices of bread on a paper plate, hands it to us, and I'm just start taking pictures. I'm like, okay, I got a document for John that I did in fact do the thing. And so I start watching, and the guy opens a cooler, and they were cleaned up for the night. Like they basically reopened the store to feed us. It was $20, so I noted to myself, okay, this is a $20 meal for 2 of us. Okay, so this isn't like expensive food these days. This is like somewhere in the middle of fast food and like sit down food or like diner food. And he opens up this cooler thing. Like when I worked at Dairy Queen when I was growing up, we had this, I don't know how to call it. It's like you grab the handle and you kind of pull the whole thing up. I don't know how I'm trying to describe this, but
like an ice chest?
Kinda. It's like a cooler rocker kind of thing, and you got the little tubs of whatever food there, and you could pull the things out, like pull out some tomatoes, put on the Blitz burger, pull out the, what I'm trying to say. Anyway.
All right, okay.
So he gets a scooper, and he gets macaroni salad. All right? So not macaroni salad.
Oh, yeah.
And it's clearly...
I know what it is.
It's clearly cold, and he puts it over the entirety of the bottom of the plate. I was like, okay, so I'm sitting here like trying to calculate what's going on. It's like, okay, well, we have a foundation of macaroni salad. That's where we're going. And
oh no.
Yeah, I know, that's where it's starting. I was like, okay, macaroni salad, not my favorite, but let's just see what happens here. And so then he gets potatoes, and he just like straight cuts potatoes, and I like potatoes, and so he fries potatoes like home fries. I've heard some people call them home fries.
Yeah, just on an open griddle, a little bit of butter.
Yeah,
like they're circles, they're discs of potato.
No, they're cubed, like 1-inch cubes is kind of how he does it.
Oh, sure, okay, I see him like that too. So it's not like a tater tot because it's not breaded, but it's a little cubed pan fried potatoes. Okay, I can picture it. Yep.
So I sent you a picture before. Don't open the last picture, but you see the next picture of the people there. You see, as you got 3 people. It's
all right. I've seen the picture of the drawing.
Yeah, skip past the food thing and
with
just
the steam.
Go straight to the people working here.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Yep. This is the Australian, Chilean, Ecuadorian lady from Boston who was helping you.
Yeah, so anyway, get the 3 individuals.
Oh, she's grinning. She's happy.
Yeah, she's
nice.
Happy.
Like she's having a good time with you.
She was really nice. She was wearing a Nickelodeon shirt. She was really cool. But so you got the old guy that's the Navy vet, right? And you got the lady, she's probably like 40s. And you got this young guy, like when you think New York City, Italian newsies, this is kind of the guy that you think about, right? And so she was giving him an earful, like, hey, do this, do that. And he was like making rude gestures behind her back in a playful way, and she was making them back, and they were having fun. So anyway, so he starts cutting up these potatoes, and he starts frying these things. I'm like, okay, what can go wrong here? And then he grabs a hot dog. And it's not like a hot dog, and it's not like a hot dog like a, like Oscar Mayer or, any of the things you would buy at the store. It's like a hot dog that looks it's a pointy hot dog.
What were you going to compare it to? I want to understand it.
Well, I don't want to compare it to anything. So it's just a pointy hot dog. And so he takes the pointy hot dog and he cuts it lengthwise. Like he cuts it like in half.
Oh, he flays it.
Yeah.
Bolton style. So now, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like you might cut a banana for a banana split. But he doesn't cut it all the way through. He leaves the skin intact on the other side. And so
yes,
now
that is how I hot dog, by the way.
Is it really?
Anytime I grill a hot dog, or I like Polish sausages, I do that. I flay it right down the middle, open it, leave the skin intact so it folds open. It's like a microcosm of the whole hot dog package later. It's like a hot dog within a hot dog. It's like it imitates the shape of the bun when I do that.
Are you being serious right now?
It's more crispier. Yeah, I always do that. And you put it on there, the ends crisp up real well, and you get crisp all the way through your hot dog.
Dude, that's fascinating.
How I hot dog.
Have you discovered cooking hot dogs in toasters yet? Have you discovered this?
Cooking what now
You take a hot dog, you take your toaster out of the cabinet or wherever you keep your toaster, and you drop a hot dog vertically into the toaster, and then like while you hold it with two fingers, you hold it up in the air. You drop down the bread toasting function on your toaster. You have to hold it, otherwise it'll just drop down in there horizontally. Have you ever cooked a hot dog in a toaster?
Maybe you and I eat different kinds of hot dogs. Most of mine have some kind of wiener juice still in there.
Yeah, hot dog juice.
And so
yeah.
I would imagine the juice would just go straight into your toaster area and be in there for life if you did that.
Just do it. Don't even I know this doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
My roommate Steve-O used to do this in college, and I was like, Steve-O, what are you doing? He's like, I'm cooking hot dogs in toaster, man. You never tried it? It's awesome. I was like, no, don't.
Oh, no.
And then I did it, and I quit making fun of Steve-O because it's the way. It is the way. You'll figure it out.
You know what? Maybe I'll just get a wiener toaster, and it'll be like I'll write on it wiener toaster, wieners only. Don't put anything else in here. And then every now and then you just like hose it out in the driveway when it's time to clean that sucker up. My dad, back in the day, he went to college and they didn't have a lot of money, and so he would call back and be like, well, I need some money for food and whatnot when he was a kid going to Chadron State in western Nebraska. And my grandma and granddad Whitman, like they had a little, I don't remember exactly how they'd phrase it, but they'd always be like, well, just do the sink weenies. Well, you got a couple bucks, just go get a pack of weenies and do the sink weenies. And so my dad, he did a couple years of life where he would take a plastic fork and he would stick it into what they called a sink weenie, and then he'd wait until the tap water got real hot, and he'd just hold it under there until the weenie got hot, and then he'd take a bite, but when you take it out from under the water, it gets colder. So he'd put it back under there to warm it while he was working down the one weenie bite, and then the next weenie bite would be super warm as well, because now you've exposed the innards of the weenie, and all that hot water gets down in there, and it's an even warmer weenie bite. Sink weenies. Sink weenies. Sink weenies.
So my granddaddy. I'm just going to pause right here, and I'm going to say the following.
Just endured that whole story. With composure and dignity and aplomb, and I thank you.
I'm just going to tell you, one of the things I love about our friendship right now and where we're at is that we both know all the jokes. I know all the jokes you're thinking. You know all the jokes I'm thinking, so we don't even have to say them.
And it can be completely appropriate radio because none of it needs to be said. The joke's just right there.
No.
And whatever joke somebody else is picturing, I don't know if they're right or not.
I don't even know what you're
But
talking
whatever
about.
joke they're picturing is probably real funny too.
I like that about our friendship. Like, we don't even have to say anything. So when I used to go to the beach with Granddaddy, there was this one hotel down there called the Lighthouse, and we would wake up in the morning. He'd like, hey, Destin, you wanna ask Mom and Dad? We'll go down and catch some sand crabs tomorrow. I was like, yes, sir. And I'd ask, and they'd say, yeah, you can go down with Granddaddy. And so we'd go down to the beach. It's like a 6-hour drive all the way down there. we'd stay a night.
Whoa.
Yeah, we'd stay a night in the Lighthouse, which was the cheapest hotel. That's my understanding. I don't know. That I always assume it was something like that. And then we'd, stay the night. We'd catch some sand crabs, and we'd go stick our feet in the ocean, and then, we'd come right back. I don't even remember how long we would stay. It was long enough to form the memory, and then we would come back and we get peach ice cream in Clanton, Alabama on the way back home. It was great. But one of the things we would do to keep our trip in Granddaddy's old Cadillac cheap is we would eat at the rest stops on the way. We would eat cold hot dogs. He'd be like, "Hey, hand me that pack of Whinnies." He wouldn't say weenies. He wouldn't say hot dogs. He'd say Whinnies.
Whinnies?
Whinnies. There was an H in the front.
Oh, I got jokes for that too.
I don't know.
I love it.
There's an H
like
in the
sound a horse makes.
Yeah, Whinnies.
Like a whinny.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. So that's my childhood. Anyway, we're back in Rochester, New York here. So we have filleted the pointy hot dog. We have the skin intact on the other side. I'm going to try your method, by the way, because that exposes more surface area to grilling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. So he's filleting this hot dog. We have the macaroni salad on the plate. He's frying the potatoes, and he goes back into that cooler with a scooper, and he gets an entire scoop of raw onions. Not my favorite. Puts some raw onions on the grill, and he kind of, just kind of shuffles them around a little bit, and I'm thinking to myself, you did not cook those near long enough for them to get the fajita taste. Those are not caramelized. Those are still raw onions, just warm. That's what those are. He puts them on top of the macaroni salad, I think. I don't really remember. And then he gets the home fries. Honestly, I don't remember where the onions were in the mix. But anyway, he gets the home fries, the potatoes, puts those on top of the macaroni salad. And then he's cooking a hamburger as well on the stove here. And he throws a piece of cheese on the hamburger. I'm not really sure, man. It all literally runs together. And then he just starts...
Yes, it does.
He starts piling it up. So look at that other picture I just sent you.
All right. I am on a picture of the four of you hanging out here. Let me grab the next one. I mean, everybody looks like they're having a good time. Oh, my.
That's a garbage plate. So...
Oh, my.
And so what it is it's...
Wait, are those carrots or is that the hot dog?
That's the pointy hot dog. It's troubling, isn't it?
Pointy.
I know.
Troubling is exactly the right word.
I know. It's something about it.
It's got a little kind of pointy bulb.
Yes.
On the end.
Yes.
And I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I mean, I really don't like that.
Everything you're thinking is what I thought as I was eating it and telling them thank you. And so
you didn't eat the ends of that, did you? Like you just left the ends.
No, I ate the ends. And so the hamburger patties in there, all the stuff, and then they topped it with some kind of what I can describe. It's the same ground beef consistency as Taco Bell. So it's very, very finely ground meat. And it's got sauce on it.
Yeah, okay.
And so
it looks like a made right. Well, that's what they call it in Iowa. Everywhere else they call it a sloppy Joe.
Oh wait, don't say anything. I want to get. So long story short, we had a garbage plate because I want to ask you. You almost went to the place I want to ask you about. We had a garbage plate, and I am not ashamed to tell you, I tried for multiple days to get this out of my body, and I could not.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine it looked much different when you finally did get it out than it does here in this photograph.
I was not prepared for what this did to me. Like, you know how you eat something and you're thinking, this is going to make my hair shiny. Like pizza, sometimes you eat pizza and you're like...
No, I don't. I mean, I remember what that felt like from when I was maybe 20, but no, it's been a while since I've thought
eyebrows. It'll make your beard shiny. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It'll like make a nice sheen to your coat. So this garbage plate hurt me. It hurt me bad. And
describe the hurt. When did the hurt start? At what point did you know this isn't going to work?
Well, I thought there's this Japanese place in town, and when I eat there, I start my stopwatch, and I'm like, I've got 45 minutes, and the kids know. They'll say, "Hey, Dad, start your stopwatch." Oh, thanks, kids, and I'll start my stopwatch, and I've got 45 minutes to be home, so I can take care of it.
That's me in Mongolian. Yeah.
So I thought to myself, okay, this clearly is going to be a situation where this this is going to go straight through me. It did not. You start sweating a little bit, and like you think all this stuff, but the weird thing about it is it's this combination of cold macaroni salad and onions with hot dog and potatoes, and so this mixture of cold and hot makes it lukewarm. There's even a Bible verse about this, I think. Lukewarm or spit you out of my mouth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so it's just this weird combination.
And it ends with spit you out of my mouth. That would be like, I think that's like Jesus himself saying that. Like it's like the opinion of God of lukewarm things is, like nobody would want to keep that in their mouth. Like that's going right out. And everybody who read that was like, oh yeah, well, that makes sense. Because how God is and how lukewarm food is. I get it. Yeah. Oh no.
So
no, I can picture it.
I linked up with the Coast Guard in Rochester. They had a little place there, and I said, hey, can I come by and visit? And they said yes. And I was like, dude, I just had this thing called a garbage plate. They're like, oh no, where did you go? I said, Nick Tauhaus, I don't know how to say it. Tauhaus. They said, yeah, that's the place. If you're going to do it, that's the place to do it. Like, I've lived here for 2 years. I can't get into it. I was like, everybody's telling me this is the local food. Like, this is the thing you get when you come here. This is the local food. They're like, yeah, but they didn't tell you the secret. I said, what's the secret? They said, yeah, the original place, Nick's, where you ate, that's called a garbage plate. And he actually trademarked the name garbage plate. Everywhere else can't use the name garbage plate, so they call them hots. And the deal is, it's really cold up here, so you go in and you get a hot, doing the air quotes. And so you see all these places that say, oh, this is Sharky's Hots, this is whatever. The restaurant would be the person's name, then Hots, Hots. And everybody knows that is a plate with this, this strata of macaroni salad, potatoes, and then some meat of your choice. And then it's topped off with some kind of hot meat sauce. And they said, but the deal is you have to eat them with a hangover. That's the only way this works. And I was like, I've never had a hangover, so I wouldn't understand how that could help me in this situation. But I did the thing. I did the local food thing, and it was strange. Now, I could see how if you grew up there, you could get into it. But my question for you is, have you ever been places that have a local food, and it's like the thing? You go to this city, and this is the food you're going to have at this location. What was the food, and what was it like? And what does that mean for that specific area? What does that food say about the people?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that was a good question to start, and then it turned into an awesome question. Because especially in the country where we live, nothing's by accident, man. Like, our history is so recent that all the weird little local food you get is derived from some history, some story, some geopolitical movement that happened, some opportunity that occurred that would cause people who were good at this thing to go from that specific place in the old world to this specific corresponding place in the new world and do the thing that they were good at over here, and they brought their thing with them, and then it becomes an institution in that part of our country long after that original initiating event is over. That little bit of food still lingers. So I would assume that in the example of your Rochester garbage plate, you're talking about Rust Belt, Erie Canal, hardworking. We just need a plate of food that will make one meal get it done, because we're going to be in a place where we don't really have the opportunity to eat throughout the day. Like, we need something crazy hearty, and it doesn't have to be perfectly hot through and through because it's not realistic to prepare it that way or deliver it that way. And then people deliver a taste for it, and it tastes like hard work, even though to you or me it looks like Rust Belt hoo-hot. I mean, it looks like the industrial equivalent of a Mongolian grill. Like, just here are all the ingredients and we throw it together, and it's kind of stir-fried up, and you just eat it all in one lump thing. Like, I bet there was a reason for all of that. Did anybody talk about the history of it or why it's a thing there?
No, they didn't, but what you're saying makes sense, because the people there are very hardworking. That's one thing that I took away in general. Like, everyone I met in New York, they were upstate New York. This is not New York City. Like, way up there near Lake Ontario. These people work, like, hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I think of everything from Pittsburgh up to that Niagara, Buffalo, Rochester area. as being built on the backs of crazy hardworking immigrants who showed up and just busted their butts to get rocks out of the ground, to make things like boilers. Or I just did a thing on pump organs that got used in the churches of the Old West, and all of those are built in like upstate New York and stuff like that. Like, they just made stuff. And the food looks like somebody who would be very practical and be like, I need calories, I need energy, I need a full belly, I need to go make stuff for 16 hours today. It smacks of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that has a lot to do with it. It's like, hey, what is the most efficient way we can input calories into our face hole? Who cares if we enjoy it? We just need it to happen. Oh, by the way, it'd be great if it was hot because it's crazy cold here. Anyway, I thought
it'd be great if the weenies had one little flourish of awesomeness, just like a little nub on the end. So it's a little different than normal weenies. Other than that, just efficiency is all we care about. Well, tough news, Destin.
Yep. You were canceled, and not in a way I was expecting. Not in a way that, I mean, like, here we're in the back catalog to discuss this, to like get people ready for it. And I don't know. I mean, I think people that are listening through the podcast right now, I think at this stage in the podcast, if I recall, they were just getting to where they started to like you.
A little.
Yeah.
I sense it.
And they don't know about the big social thing that's coming up in the future. And so I thought it made sense to come back here into the back catalog and tell them about that. Just warn them that it was going to happen. I only thought it made sense to give you an opportunity to speak to it here.
Well,
I mean, what would you like to say?
I appreciate that. And I think the best thing to do would be, before I clarify my remarks and actions, to just have you explain exactly what it is that I did in detail, please.
Yes, absolutely. Well, most people might not be familiar with chinchillas, though, so that part of the story doesn't make sense. Basically, Matt was invited to speak at a large conference, and some things happened on stage that were frowned upon publicly.
Sure.
And so basically, you lost all your jobs.
And my left arm.
And your left arm. There was that. It took a while, but I mean, it's healed up. All that happened, and so now we from the future are here basically to say the only way you can support Matt is this one avenue that hasn't been taken from you for some reason. I don't know why they haven't taken your ability to be supported like this, but would you like to say it? I mean, go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, obviously I'm sorry, and I've learned so much about myself and feelings and other people and the journey that is life, and the effect of an absolute vacuum on chinchilla pups.
Yes.
While those have all been important lessons, and while I am grateful for them, at some point you have to move forward, and that's what I'm trying to do with my life at this time.
Yeah.
That video's never coming off of YouTube.
No, it's not.
I understand that.
No.
It shouldn't. I want future generations to know the risks associated with the things I did.
Never
no one
forget.
wants to see a repeat of that.
Yeah.
But I'm a person, and if you prick me, do I not bleed? If you put me in an absolute vacuum, do I not weirdly implode and then dribble out the end in a paste?
Right.
While someone dressed as a magician says, ta-da? Yeah, I do. And that's why I want to ask you, one, for your forgiveness, and two, for your continued support at patreon.com/nodumbquestions so you can enjoy more great programming like this.
Yeah.
Destin, what do they need to know about patreon.com/nodumbquestions?
Yeah, so you're doing the weird voice again. I told you not to do that. That was part of what got you in trouble in the first place. But anyway, long story short,
ta-da!
There's a thing that's going to happen to Matt in the future. It's going to upset a lot of people. Really, the only way to support his family through this is patreon.com/nodumbquestions. And that's why we came back to the back catalog here to try to head this off at the pass. We just didn't want it to be a surprise. So if you're willing to consider supporting at patreon.com/nodumbquestions, Matt, I know your family would be grateful. I mean, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, well, it's not just my immediate family. It's also my aging father. I still so badly want him to be proud of me. That's why I got into magic tricks and illusions that are designed to teach people important lessons and raise awareness about legitimate threats to the environment, like chlorofluorocarbons and the ozone layer. I felt I was making a point, that would bring people together in unity so that we could prevent future disasters and live out our days in not only social harmony, but climate harmony.
Yeah.
I made some miscalculations.
Yes.
Your continued support at patreon.com/nodumbquestions will signal to my aging father that I'm not a complete failure and that I actually have done some good in this world and that there are some people who still believe in me. Not that I even care.
Well said, Matt. Well said. And I think with that, moving forward, people will just know how to listen to the rest of the podcast. And so I just appreciate your bravery today. That took courage. Well done, Matt.
Thank you, back catalog listeners. Thank you.
So my question again, Matt, is where have you been that has interesting local food? What was it? What did you think about it? What did it mean?
Yes, I can think of one right off the top of my head. You've been there with me, Lead, South Dakota.
Okay.
The Lead, Deadwood area. What was your impression of Lead, Deadwood when you were out here?
I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. I don't remember any local food that we had. I remember eating at that place near that gold mine, but I don't remember a distinct, like, oh, this is the food we had from this area. Did I miss it? Was it there? I just wasn't paying attention?
No, we didn't eat any uniquely local food. We ate at that brew house, right? That really stylish brew house that the guy who does the Harley Davidson art, the place that he opened, like the rock and roll.
Yeah, all the guitars on the walls. Yeah, stuff like that. It was cool. Yeah. I think they actually had a guitar in there from Alabama, the band Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was a Leonard Skinner in there too. Yeah.
Yes, yes as well. Yeah, that place is rad, but it's not like, oh, this is distinctively Black Hills food. It's more holdover from what Deadwood was. You know, Deadwood got founded in 1874. I think the first people showed up in that gulch, and very quickly they wanted to get luxury from back east out west, and they had the money to do it. So one of the very first cities in the entire country, the whole continent, the whole world even, to have electricity was Deadwood, South Dakota. Not a lot of people know that.
Really?
But they had pure raw gold out of the ground, and they wanted that sense of comfort and refinement because it was a very unrefined place. And so electricity happened there. Like, it was old news to the people of Deadwood when the lights came on at the 1893 World Columbian Exposition in Chicago and took everybody's breath away. Like, the people of Deadwood were like, yeah, we get it.
Wow. I wouldn't have thought that.
So that place that we ate is a holdover from that era of East Coast style luxury come west, but it's not really reflected in the menu. What is reflective and what is very local, I should say, is just up the road in Lead. The two towns joined together. What do you remember as being the outstanding feature of Lead, South Dakota?
Like, what kind of feature? Like the building, or what do you mean?
Like, what's the thing that stands out? It's like, oh, dang, that's not normal about Lead, South Dakota.
The big gold mine. That was huge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was a huge hole in the ground, like gigantic. And it's like, have you ever seen the thing where people pour aluminum into an anthill and it goes down and fills up all the different, tunnels that the ants have? It's like that, but humans. So,
yes.
In the museum there, they have that really cool three-dimensional layout of the tunnel system. It's beautiful. The other thing was the place where Wild Bill got shot.
Yeah, the saloon there in Deadwood. Yeah, Wild Bill got shot in the back of the head, aces and eights, that whole story. Jack McCall, legendary sheriff of the Old West, Seth Bullock, all of that is here. But everybody came to Deadwood and to Lead to mine because there was crazy amounts of gold. Custer sent back a report in 1874, said, yeah, we're definitely getting mineable gold out of the creeks. It's just sitting there. And people came out and got it, and that was problematic in ways and awesome in other ways, and just made for the most Wild West place of anywhere that could claim the title Wild West. Well, that gigantic hole in Lead took a lot of manpower to dig. It starts above a mile high, and it drops below sea level.
Really?
It's just such a unique man-made feature. Yeah, and so it's uniquely built for all kinds of scientific research. That hole there is where they have the Sanford lab, where they're trying to fire back and forth neutrinos through planet Earth between here and Chicago. I don't get how any of that works, but it's all happening there. Like, people work below sea level, but they go to work at a ski resort in elevation. It's just nuts. Like, they just ride an elevator down to below the coast.
What does that do to your ears?
Yeah, I don't know. My neighbor worked at the bottom of that hole, and he goes down when it's dark, and he comes up when it's dark, and then it's dark out. He's like a mole person. He's a super nice guy, but he's got some mole person qualities to him. I feel bad. Well, that is how a lot of these miners lived. And Lead is really cool. I mean, it's a super old, strange architecture town, but it had neighborhoods. There's like the Ukrainian neighborhood with the Ukrainian grocery store. And then there's like the Russian neighborhood that's just a little bit different, and a Chinese neighborhood, and the Italian neighborhood. And all these little neighborhoods, which are just a few acres in size, built into the hills around the mine, they've got their own little ethnic community. And there was an English neighborhood, not just like American English speaking, but like people from Cornwall. And have you ever been out to Devon and Cornwall?
No, I have not.
Western UK?
No, I haven't. Bristol's as far as I've gone.
Yeah, so is Bristol technically Wales?
No, it's close, but it's they can see Wales from there across the body of water, whatever that is. But no, all the stuff starts changing names when you get over there. That's my understanding. I may be wrong.
We're pretty good at UK geography. Like everything I know about it is just flipping Westeros upside down and being like, I'm pretty sure that's where King's Landing is. I think that's Bath or something. I don't know. This should all work out. You stupid Americans. Whatever. We're trying. So Devon and Cornwall, which are really cool. I mean, that's way out west. That's where I think that's where Tintagel Castle is, the place that's associated with King Arthur and all of those legends. And there's at least some tradition of really technically advanced, skilled mining out that direction, like silver and zinc. And so miners from that part of the world brought their expertise to Lead, South Dakota, to figure out how to extract gold out of this mountain that is there at a rate that we've never seen anywhere on Earth. There's insane amounts of gold sitting in these rocks. And so experts come from there and they bring their food with them. And so still, to this day, there is some little pasty. Have you ever heard of one of these?
I think it's a pasty, yeah. I had one of those with, what is the name of the palace? Oh, I feel stupid now. But yeah, Brady Heron took me to a palace, and that's where I had my first pasty. It's like, you've never had a pasty? Brady's going to hate me for saying that. I was like, no, Brady, I haven't. He's like, you must. The meat ones are excellent. And so we had, he's going to hate that because he's an Australian, but you know. Oh, speaking of which,
I thought you did well.
A big congratulations to Brady Heron for receiving the medal for the Order of Australia.
Isn't that kidding.
Incredible?
Yeah, sometimes you see like pictures of people tweet and stuff and you're like, oh yeah, well, cool. You went to Kansas City. There's that statue, like neat. And then every now and then you see somebody being awarded a medal by like the prince. Yeah, wait. What now?
yeah,
what are you tweeting?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you should totally. There's an episode of the Unmade podcast where they go into it and they explain it, and I highly recommend that. Just because Brady does a good job of just recounting the whole day. It's really, really good. Anyway, so they bring their food, their pasties from the UK over to Deadwood.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that is super hearty. You can eat some of it for breakfast, and you can take the rest with you down into the mine. But you think about it, you need something that's going to be super loaded with energy, but you're not going to have the opportunity to reheat it or anything. It's got to be something that'll keep and that packs up and is neat and tidy. You don't want a giant mess of stuff. And so this pasty, if you will, I mean, it's all wrapped in bread. It's like a
mince pie, right?
What's the Italian? Yeah, kind of like that. What's the Italian like wrapped up pizza? What do they call those?
A calzone.
Calzone. Thank you. Yeah, it's like that, except it has English stuff in it instead of Italian stuff. So it's like tomatoes and salami and stuff. You got like turnips or rutabaga or whatever. And it goes in there with some cheap slices of beef, and it works. But it's not just practical. People come to really love it in mining country, and it becomes mining food across the whole West. In Lander, Wyoming, there was a pasty shop that would make the sack lunches for all the miners when they would go up to Atlantic City in the Wind River Mountains. You've been to that hole in the ground too. I took you by there.
Yeah.
And they would go and dig out all of the iron, all of what would eventually become the steel that won World War II. It came out of this gigantic hole in western Wyoming, and the people who dug it out mostly lived in Lander, and what fueled them was this kind of, I don't even know what you call it. It's a pastry kind of thing, I suppose, but it's full of meat and vegetables, and it gives the miner the strength to get through the day. And only very recently did they finally shut down that sack lunch place, even in Lander. And so for me, I eat that and I'm like, I mean, okay, I probably wouldn't seek this out. But when you start to learn the history and how it got here and why it's a food that made sense, you get why in mining country, it's kind of a local tradition. Is that the kind of thing you were asking about?
Kind of, yeah. Like those are types of food. Like, I don't know. So there are things here in North Alabama, like barbecue, obviously. So I've lived all over the South. And if you go 50 miles in any direction, the barbecue changes. And you could also almost do this heat map of the types of barbecue in different locations. And for example, here in North Alabama, we have what's called white sauce. Famously, Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue in Decatur, Alabama, has white sauce, and it's like a tangy vinegar and mayonnaise and pepper kind of thing, but it's for poultry. It's for chicken and turkey, and it's really interesting. I'm seeing that exported everywhere as Alabama white. That's what they call it, Alabama white sauce.
I'm seeing that around more. Since the first time you told me about that, I've started to see that in stores, and it's usually marketed as being Alabama white sauce, something like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. What's really interesting about it is like the people that make it. I mean, I can go talk to them. I need to do that. But the garbage plate seemed to be more than that. It seemed to be like a regional, not just a sauce or a thing. Well, maybe a sauce or a thing does kind of elevate to this level. I don't know, man. Fish and chips, you go to the UK, fish and chips everywhere, bangers and mash, pub grub, that kind of stuff. I know in West Africa, I had some tea. There's a special kind of tea where you sit down and they make a big production out of like, oh, you're going to drink this tea. It's got this mint overtone to it. I don't know. Is there a meal from somewhere that you've been that has a specific region or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, well, since you're bringing up Alabama barbecue, the other thing that we have locally in South Dakota that most outsiders have never heard of is chislic. Did we try that when you were here?
What? Chislic?
Chislic? Uh-huh.
No, what is that? It sounds like a part from a sheep that's like you bury it in the ground and then it ferments. And then you pull it out, and then you cut off the green parts, and then you eat what's left cold. That's what that sounds like.
No, I don't think that's what this is, but I'm going to picture that now next time. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. I gave you flayed extra crispy hot dogs, and you gave me whatever that thing was you just said. So that's not equitable.
I just made that up, yeah.
No, chislic, I looked this up a while back. It's derived from like the same Turkish term that gives us shish kebab. It's a skewered meat, just like a little meat cube. I've only ever had it as beef. I don't know if people use other meats to make it. But the story was some guy back in the day, mining era, came west to South Dakota, and in this whole like boomtown era that I was talking about, brought with him some sort of Turkish or Crimean way of treating and skewering cubed meat. And it's like super marinated. It's like a spicy, almost kind of bitter marinade that it sits in. And then when you fry it up, the edges get all crispy, and it's pretty red in the middle. And so it's like just a delicious bite of steak if all the sides of the steak were the crispy, delicious edges of a steak. And so it's like an appetizer.
Oh, it actually has a Wikipedia page. Chislic is a dish consisting of skewered cubes of red meat, usually mutton or lamb, although game meat such as venison and even beefsteak can be used, most commonly associated with the state of South Dakota. Chislic,
hey, there we go.
Chislic was declared the official state nosh in March 2018. What is a nosh?
Notch? Like N-O-T-C-H?
N-O-S-H. Here we go, straight into the Wikipedia rabbit hole. A nosh is a snack. Why would they use the word nosh then if it's a snack? It just looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like when you're at the mall in the 90s with your mom And she's like, hey, the kids are hungry, but I'm not going to pay for all the food here. So I'm just going to kind of go through all the different food court places and let the kids get a like a little sample from the Japanese restaurant.
$3 snack?
No.
Oh, yeah, the sample. Oh, yeah.
They're toothpicks.
And they'd have them on the stick?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's exactly what this looks like.
Oh, you did that too? Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's like, oh, man, I'm hungry, but we're not going to pay for food, so we're just going to roll through. Well, here's a Chick-fil-A chicken nugget. Here's a Japanese. They always had the best teriyaki chicken. And then, we went to the other places that didn't have anything good to give you. They gave you something awful. It's like God, I used to love that, dude. It was the best.
And the first bite was always so good, and you're like, oh, I'm getting that. And you order a plate, and you just feel sick as a dog after 2 bites.
Because of
I know, the right amount to consume was that one toothpick's worth.
The principle of diminishing returns. Yeah, so, yeah.
Yes, rapidly diminishing.
I remember Coach Page in economics back in high school. He said, all right, we're going to do a demonstration. We need somebody to volunteer to eat a donut. And some, football player would always raise his hand. He goes, all right, here you go, free donut, go for it. And then he would say, how would you rate that donut? And he'd say, oh, that's a good donut. It's an 8. He's like, oh, great, here's another donut. He'd eat it and say, how would you rate that donut? I'm like, it's a donut, 7, I don't know. And he would keep going until he's like, eat the donut. The guy's like, I don't want any more donuts. And I will never forget
Please, sir.
The principle of diminishing returns because of that. Thank you very much, Coach Page.
That's magnificent. That's really good for a coach.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a kind of a bad rap. Yeah, that's solid.
All of my coaches that taught me in school were really, really good. Like super good teachers.
Mine were not.
Really?
Oh, wow. Nope. No, there were exceptions. I'm not going to knock anybody by name. There were exceptions, but no, the coaches that I had, they struggled at times.
Oh, wow.
With exception.
Mine were excellent.
Yeah, with exceptions. Yeah, there was one dude who was pretty solid.
This episode of No Dumb Questions is sponsored by Audible. You can get a 30-day trial, a free book, and access to the Audible Plus catalog by going to audible.com/NDQ or texting NDQ to 500. Matt, where are we on the book thing like that we do here on the podcast?
Yeah, and just for people who are maybe just pulling up a seat in the third chair, we've been doing this thing since the very beginning where every time Audible sponsors, we pick a new audiobook and then we invite everybody in the third chair to listen to that audiobook on Audible, and then we discuss it in a future episode that is sponsored by Audible. And last time around, I picked The Hobbit, which means that this time around, the audiobook choice is yours, my friend.
Oh, dude, man. Okay, so I got to pick. Okay, I have an idea here, but I'm not comfortable making this decision alone because of the content of this book. And it's pretty hardcore, and there's a lot of potty words in the book. So we need to discuss this. I listened to a book on Audible called Hate Inc., like Hate Incorporated, by Matt Taibbi. I recommended it to you. Did you get a chance to get that one?
Yes, I did, and I have been through it. And are you bringing this up because you're suggesting we do this with everybody?
That's kind of where I'm at with this. Here's the deal about this book, dude. I hated listening to it because of how true it was. And it's like seeing, I don't know, it's like seeing all the worst things about yourself in front of yourself, knowing they're true. But it's good because it gives you something to work on and you can improve yourself. What do you think?
Yeah, this book was a tough listen, but also fun in a weird way. Like it went down easy in terms of, okay, just keep walking me through it, because every paragraph that I'm hearing from this dude, it's like it is chipping away one more chunk of calcification or overgrowth that is covering truth. I felt like this was one of the most important books I've encountered in a long time in terms of satisfying that impulse I have right now to just get past the crap. Everything feels so dang dishonest, and this felt like, yeah, you know what? I kind of wondered if it was that was going on here. And golly, that does not feel good to hear, but it makes sense of a lot of things that otherwise don't make much sense. And at first, I'm like, yeah, I knew it. And then the more it goes along, I'm like, oh my goodness, I fell for that. Oh, wow, I fell for it there. I fell for it there. Oh, I played along with it there. Oh, I did not make the world better there. Oh, no, that's what they were doing on that side of the equation. I'm an idiot. And then as it went along, I went from that place of sadness and frustration with myself and guilt for being so easily duped to more of a proactive, okay, like, what do I do? What does it look like to move past this thing that is happening to us and to something better? And that's where I'm at right now as I just wrapped it up here recently.
Okay, so in order for anything that Matt just said to make sense, you probably need to know the subtitle of the book, which is Hate Incorporated, Why Today's Media Makes Us Despise One Another. The thing about it, when I got done with this, I felt like I could see the Matrix. Like, I feel like I can look at any news article now, and I can see exactly what buttons it's trying to push on my heart.
Like, rather than
this is where I went
being like, oh, everything's evil, like, here's exactly why the stuff that is screwed up happens.
Yeah, it explains the market forces behind it.
Yep.
Matt Taibbi wrote the book. He's a journalist that admittedly, like his own self-admission, I think he identifies as pretty left-leaning. What's interesting is he punches both ways. He calls a spade, and he kind of takes his glove off and just punches everybody. So it's really interesting. So Matt Taibbi, Hate Incorporated, Why Today's Media Makes Us Despise One Another. That's my book recommendation. What do you think? Yes or no?
I'm in, 100% in. We have tried over the course of these conversations we've had with microphones on to give parents a heads up when, hey, maybe not the kids on this one. And this book, it's so candid, and I love the candor. That's part of what makes it refreshing and challenging and an awesome listen. But just the verbiage and the reality of what's being discussed means this is more of a grown-up audience kind of book.
Yeah, absolutely. What would be amazing is if we could get Matt on. I would love that. If we could get him to... So,
yeah, if he wants to come slum it with us, I would sure be game.
Yeah, if anybody knows Matt Taibbi and like, hey, would you spend some time talking to these dudes? I think that'd be amazing. I'd love to meet the guy. I think he has really interesting ideas. Mm-hmm. So that's it. If you want to check this out, go to audible.com/NDQ or text NDQ to 500-500. That gets you a 30-day trial, a free book, and access to the Audible library. Go to audible.com/NDQ.
Hey, real quick, dude, I know most of what we do when we talk about Audible is we talk about what audiobook we're going to be looking at next as a group. But real quick, have you been digging deeper into the Plus catalog?
I have. Yeah, there's some really good books there I was surprised to find, like The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. Amazing.
It used to be a thing where if I wanted audiobooks of philosophy, classical works, primary sources, like stuff from the great minds of history, I was like, I'm kind of getting this as a reference or a resource for things that I'm into, but I don't know that I want to spend a whole credit on something that was written in the 2nd century AD. Well, now all of a sudden I'm finding more and more of that stuff in the Plus catalog. So I know there are a whole lot of people in the third chair who are here from the sciences side of the equation, but I know there's also a pretty good showing over on the humanities side of the equation. And for those of you who are wired that way and like to connect with the great minds of the past, increasingly this Plus catalog is filling up with all of the great works from history. And so I've had Marcus Aurelius's Meditations in front of me. He was a Roman emperor / philosopher from the 2nd century. And just getting to encounter that in this format is a pretty cool thing. And if you have a membership with Audible, you get that whole Plus catalog and you can poke around in there all you want.
That's awesome. Yeah, check it out. Audible.com/NDQ or text NDQ to 500-500. So Chislic, did you eat it at a party? Like you just eat one? Like is it a thing that kind of sits out on the counter and everybody just gets one, or do you eat a whole plate of Chislic?
I don't know. I eat a whole plate of Chislic. I don't know. I've never had it at a party. It's just always listed in the appetizer section at nicer sit-down places.
So it's not a situation where you walk in,
pounce on it.
Everybody's wearing like sports coats, and you hear some chatter in the sides, like, "Oh, Frank, but I already have 2 Ferraris. Oh, would you like some Chislic? Here you go."
Well, I saw your new one while I was blimping. Yes.
So Chislic's not that kind of food.
No, it's not like that at all.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been to a party like that.
I haven't either.
I went to a U.S. Open party with a bunch of tennis people last year, and I thought it was going to be pretty pretentious. Like I thought people would like dress all nice, and even at the fancy U.S. Open party, everybody was so dang normal. It's South Dakota, man.
That's
I
great.
don't think we know how to do fancy, but the Chislic is good.
That's awesome.
It's really yummy. Have you Have you had the Nashville hot chicken just up the road from you?
Yes, I have. It's very messy.
How does that do to your system?
It's more like I'm just like gesturing palm to my face. I'm just kind of doing a circle in front of my face. It kind of like lights up that. Like your face just kind of catches on fire. And heaven help you if you touch your eyes. It's a significant experience. Like I had to get ready, and they throw a couple of pickles in there for some reason. I don't know what the pickles do, but
dude, I just had a physical reaction to you saying "Heaven help you if you touch your eyes." It's like when you watch those fail videos, and some kid's like, "I'm gonna ride my skateboard down this super pointy railing," and then predictably, like they impale their undercarriage on the railing, and then slowly slide off to the side, and you can hear like crunching cauliflower or celery sounds when they land, and you just like you physically feel this pain that arises from your own undercarriage and goes up into your abdomen. And you're just, oh, that poor kid will never be the same.
Right.
He's out of the gene pool now. It's like what you just described with the hot chicken did that to me.
I know.
I felt abdominal pain when you said that.
Yeah, it's a thing. So I think it's called Hattie Mae's. So
Hattie B's.
Hattie B's, is that it? Okay.
Hattie B's.
Yeah, that's it. So Tara and I went to Nashville for a weekend one time, and we're like, where do we get hot chicken? We went to Hattie B's, and we had to wait a really, really long time for Hattie B's hot chicken.
Yes.
It was good, though. Yeah. It was really good. What other foods?
Okay. But the Hattie B's thing, dude, it is good. Like whatever they're doing there, the combination of the sweet and the sugar and the boiling hot mingled with the way they fry up the skin, the breading, I mean, it is amazing. We were out there for the wedding in April. Maybe I already told you something about this, but everybody said like you gotta go to Hattie B's, and so we went to Hattie B's, and J.P. Sears, the comedian from the internet, kind of before he was really mad about everything, he was performing across the street, and I was like, oh, that guy's pretty funny. I like his Awaken with J.P. like sarcastic stuff. Oh, we'll go see him right after we get dinner. And so we went to this Hattie B's place, and we got partway through our meal, and both of us were like, is your abdomen making sounds? Like I can't tell if that's my abdomen or yours, but I feel the sounds. I feel like everybody in this restaurant can hear me, and there's loud music playing. I'd really like to go to that. Can we just go home? I want to go back to the hotel and maybe lay in the bathtub for 4 hours.
I know.
Dude, I have maybe never so utterly and completely just cleaned out everything.
I got it. I understand.
Like just
you don't have to say any of it.
I'm still pure. I'm clean. I got nothing.
It's like when you rinse your mouth with brown Listerine.
What that did to me. Yeah, I imagine so, though I'm not going to do that to find out. It rocked my world, dude.
I know.
I've never felt the things that chicken made me feel that night.
I get it.
And I think I regret it, but I'm not going to probably do that again.
I'm not going to have another garbage plate, dude. It's not going to happen.
I'm not going to have a first garbage plate.
Well, I'm not going to say never, but like I'm not going to seek out a garbage plate. I did it. I got the cultural experience. I'm good. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Other places that have interesting foods. Schnitzel, Germany, the whole nation of Germany. Schnitzel's awesome. There's a place in Vienna, Austria, that has a special kind of chocolate cake.
Okay.
I was there years ago, and I think it's called a tort. And Tara said, I don't know what this is about, right, but we got to go get a tort at this place. And we went, and it was just like a single slice of chocolate cake. That was pretty good. What's up with Switzerland and chocolate or Swiss chocolate? Like, you can't grow chocolate there.
It works.
Yeah, I don't understand it, though.
Yeah, but chocolatiering is an exercise in engineering precision. And you know who's pretty good at that? The Swiss.
Are you being serious?
I think that is where the connection... Yes! I think that's where the connection happens. It is so easy to screw up chocolate and so hard to nurture it to exactly the right flavor and depth and richness. And they've got all that science figured out. And the trains run on time there. So they are equipped properly to do that. And then their attention isn't all cluttered with war because they don't do that either. So they can just focus on chocolate. This
is taking me back to the Kodak experience because they were like monitoring the temperatures of their melts. They called it down to like super precise. So you're saying Swiss chocolate. I need you to tell me this is, if you're just thinking this might be the thing, or if this is actually the thing, because I've been trying to figure Swiss chocolate out. So is that a thing? Like, what everything you just said, is that true, or is that what you think? I'm not saying that you don't think something that's true.
I have no idea if that's true. I just think it's a great theory.
I think it's a good theory.
No, man. Well, it's like what I've always assumed. It's not like I'm making that up off the cuff. It's just always, like, I know that cocoa beans don't grow in Switzerland probably an awful lot. Yeah, I assume it's just their talent for precision that gets it where it needs to be.
I got another one for you then. French vanilla.
Okay.
You can't grow vanilla in France. It's in Madagascar, right?
I have no idea where vanilla comes from. I assume it's somewhere tropical or subtropical.
Okay. I'm just trying
to... bean.
Yeah. Okay. I was just trying to figure this stuff out.
I don't know any of that, but there are certain things that I want that are very complicated that I can only get in a few places. There are other things that aren't complicated, but I just want them again. The sugar donuts in Italy at the little cafes that you can just run into for a quick breakfast thing, they're so good. They're more like a legit pastry than a donut, but there's something about it's not confectioner's sugar. There's something about the crystallization of the sugar and how it interacts with and sticks in the little crevices of those. It's like a hybrid of a fried donut and a cake donut.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And every time I get back to Italy, I'm like, I got to get me some of those donuts, and not one or two.
Oh, I got another
I don't really have any affection for pizza margherita, but I really like street pizza in Italy when I'm there. Yeah, there are wines.
You just took me down a brain thing. So the powdery donuts you were describing sound like beignets, which you get at Café du Monde in New Orleans.
No. It's very different, but that's confectioner's sugar. That's powdered sugar.
Yes, it is. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, those are super good too, and I super want those. And whenever I get to New Orleans, I eat those, but it's different.
But there's another thing in New Orleans. Obviously, you got the Creole and everything that is gumbo and all that. I mean, that is Creole food is amazing. But there's this one particular dish called debris. Have you heard of debris?
No, like the character from Arrested Development?
No, I don't know. I'm sorry, I haven't watched Arrested Development.
It's a pity. Yeah, you're missing out.
Okay.
Like DEBRIS, like stuff left behind after a thing explodes?
Yeah, exactly. And so debris is they cook like a roast, and all the stuff that falls down off the roast into the pan makes this gravy-like, but where all the flavor is.
Yeah?
Yeah, so you eat that.
Yeah, I want that.
You eat that for breakfast.
Yeah, I'd eat that.
It's.
Oh, where do you get it? Just like at a regular local restaurant?
I don't know. I'm looking it up right now. New Orleans. I'm looking this debris. Just look up debris and roast beef po' boy in New Orleans. Eatyourworld.com. Debris in New Orleans. I don't know. It's a thing. That's all. That's all I know. So it's Mother's Restaurant. A debris sandwich is anything but trashy. Review of Mother's Restaurant. Yeah, I've had it. It's great. I thought it was for breakfast. Maybe I'm wrong. So they seem to be saying that it's a thing you eat for not breakfast, but I don't know. Food means stuff.
It does. We were both feeling the exact same thing. It's like a time marker. It does for me the same thing that my silly Spotify playlists do. You know, I've told you a bunch of times that I make an annual Spotify playlist to simulate what it was like growing up with songs that were on the radio for just 1 year, 1993. These are the songs that were the soundtrack of your life. Well, I still wanted that experience, even though everything went digital and terrestrial radio quit making sense. And so I make my own every year. And the sound of that, it takes me back to 2018, to 2016, to 2014, whatever. And food super does that for me. If it's just the right way, it touches all of the senses in one way or another, and it combines with the environment, and you get such a sense of place and in the moment and aliveness, and just a snapshot of this little sliver of your existence that's captured in that meal and that food and the people who you shared it with, and you can never really fully duplicate that, and I love that about it.
Here's the thing that I like to think about. I think I've told you this. Have I told you about thinking about chain restaurants in Rome? We've had this conversation, right?
Maybe. I'll allow it.
When I read the book Salt, they talked about the condiment that was used everywhere, which was called garum. Took me a second to get it.
Garum, yeah. The fish like
putrid fish
It was
sauce.
their ketchup.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So there's garum. I don't know. I know that there's this whole group of people that lived before me, and the only thing that separates us is time. That's it. But they had a very different food, and I've often wondered if I was transported back to a time, Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court style. I go back into a weird place in time and sit down, and it's like, hey, it's time to eat. Like, man, that would be amazing. Just to partake in the food as it was given just normally. And it would be so strange and so interesting to me, but it would be normal to everyone else. And so it's incredible. I mean, food is pretty much the same ingredients all the way around. You know, you get different spices or whatever, but you can prepare it so many different ways, and suddenly you're disoriented. You're like, what? What is this? Oh, it's nutmeg. Well, I can't. This is just too much. You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a thing.
Yeah. Destin, I got an idea.
Okay.
I think that this is one of those conversations that would benefit from being expanded outside of you and me. So we should just call some people from the contact list and ask them, like, hey, when we travel to your neck of the woods, what should we eat? What do you just have to have?
Okay. I got an add-on idea to that. What if we sprinkle in some patrons? Can you make a post on Patreon or something? I don't have my desktop computer in front of me. Do you have yours in front of you?
Oh, absolutely, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet somebody will be down. Yes, doing that now. Here we go. All right, I'm posting. So you're calling first. Who are we calling?
Yeah, I'm gonna call Lee.
All right, then I will also pull up the bleep sound effect.
Yes, sir.
Hey, can I merge you with Matt real quick?
You can do that.
Okay. Matt?
Hi, Liebert. Leerith. Never really thought about what your full name would be.
It's Leland.
Oh, it is.
Leland.
Wow. That's not real.
I really liked it though.
Lee, we're doing an episode where we talk about foods in different places, like a specific food in a specific place. Briefly,
Like this is what you eat when you go to there.
yeah.
Okay.
Like super, super briefly, can you give us a thing you eat when you go to a certain place? Keep it short, because we're going to try to cram in a bunch of people here. What you got?
Oh, so yeah, you go to Detroit, you get Detroit-style pizza.
Why is it better?
So it's thick crust, square. A lot of other people, when they do thick crust type style pizza, it's all doughy. It's not like that. But yeah, Detroit, like where I'm from, you got Detroit-style pizza. The Italian food's great. You wanting it national or international? Or local? Or
This is great. Yeah.
okay.
That's it? Detroit style. Do you wash it down with a Mickey's?
Yeah. Well, at that time in my life, I washed it down with a lot of Mickeys. But yeah, in Okinawa, that was the first place I tried real sushi. And so when you go there, you have to have legit sushi.
If I go to Detroit, what's the place where I go to get the Detroit style pizza? Where should I go?
They're all over, but for me, my favorite, hands down, is Jet's Pizza.
Sweet.
In Detroit.
Yes, sir.
You're a good person, Lee. Thank you.
That's great, Lee. Thank you very much.
No problem. I'll talk to you.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, man. I got Gordon McGladdery from Michelle in the Pit. He does the music and stuff for Smarter Every Day. I'm going to ask
Wonderfully
him.
talented man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hello.
Gordon, quick question. We're doing regional foods, like a food that is specific to a specific region. You're from the Vancouver area. If someone came to Vancouver, what is the one thing they have to eat that is Vancouver?
It's sushi, which is not traditionally Vancouver, but Canada. We don't have a very old culture. But Vancouver's known for its sushi.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What's the candied salmon thing you sent me?
Oh, that's good too. Candied salmon. Yeah.
What is it?
Candied salmon, that would be more quote unquote Canadian. That wouldn't be necessarily Vancouver specific, but that's like a very awesome Canadian food.
How does one candy salmon, and where do you get said candied salmon if I'm in Vancouver?
I've never done it myself. You can just get it at most grocery stores. Like, I don't know if candied salmon involves smoking beforehand and then candying, but yeah, you can just get it at the grocery store, usually.
All right. Candied salmon.
So basically, it's like smoked fish with sugary syrup on it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Thank you very much, Gordon from Vancouver. We appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks, dude.
See you, man.
Bye.
Okay, Robert, we have a quick question for you. We're having a discussion about local, regional food where when you go to a place, you just have to eat this particular thing. Do you have one that is local to you? And do you have one that you feel strongly about that is not local to you?
Robert, where are you, first of all? Nice to meet you, by the way. Where are you at?
I'm in Kentucky.
Oh, it's that Robert.
Making internet.
It's Bobby.
It's that Robert.
Hello, Dustin Sandler.
What's up?
It's Bob Claggett from I Like to Make Stuff. You might remember him from the internet.
Yeah, so do you like eat tobacco and drink whiskey? Is that what you do in Kentucky?
Yep, the other way around.
Spit lightning.
Let's see. So say that again. It's a local food that what?
Yeah, do you have like a local thing that if somebody comes to where you live, you just got to eat this thing because it's a local specialty?
Oh, man.
Is it horse? I know you guys are really into horses there.
I don't think we have anything like that here. I know in another part of Kentucky, there's stuff called burgoo.
What?
It's similar to Brunswick stew, if you've ever had Brunswick stew. Justin may have had that.
Yeah, I've had that.
Where he is. So it's similar to that, but it has like corn and something else in it. I don't know. But that's not here. So I know that thing where people have like, you got to try our local whatever, but I don't think we have anything like that here.
Is there somewhere where you like to travel that has a food where you're like, oh man, if I go there, I'm eating that? Like how Michael Scott would always get Sbarro when he went to New York?
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
You failed us.
I know there's got to be something, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, man.
I mean, if you came here, I wouldn't be like, hey, you really have to try Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know?
But I'd eat it if you said to.
Let's lean into that stuff. What's it called? Verdue?
Burgoo.
Spell that.
Burgoo. I got Brunswick stew.
I don't really even know how to spell it.
Burgoo stew. There it is.
Burgoo.
Kentucky burgoo.
Oh, wow.
I'm seeing, chunks of corn and carrot. It looks like beef, I guess. I think that, maybe that's chicken.
This looks
good.
It looks
like beef.
It is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's just like a really thick stew, kind of. It's like a cross between stew and chili.
That's awesome.
This recipe has apple cider in it. Interesting.
Oh, wow. I love it. Sweet. Thanks, Bob.
Sure. I don't think I really helped, but you're welcome.
That was literally the purpose of our call, and you have fulfilled it. Thank you.
Okay,
Bob is mocking us.
No.
Well, I would hope so.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I'll check in for real things later.
Okay, sounds good.
See you, brother.
Later.
Omi, are you there?
I am.
Okay, Matt, this is my mother-in-law, Omi, and
I know her and remember her from hanging out with her. It's nice to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you, Matt.
We're doing a super quick question for a lot of people, Omi, and it's about a specific regional food. And like when you go to this place, you have to eat this one food. And you grew up in Fargo, North Dakota. So the question is very simple, simple response. When I go to Fargo, North Dakota, what's the one food I have to eat?
I would say sauerkraut and bratwurst.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah?
That's pretty good.
Together? Those aren't separate, right? You put the one on the other?
Yes. You put the one on the other. You put sauerkraut on top of a broth.
How does that improve the bratwurst?
It actually makes it, they complement each other, the foods do. Of course, the sauerkraut is a little sour, and then brat is a little more seasoned and maybe greasier, but I think it kind of just it does. It complements each other.
My granddaddy used to call that kraut and huenes. Kraut and huenes. One other question, Omi. When we went to that family reunion up there was this custard pie that they cut. What was that called?
Oh, yes. Kuchen. I mean, that's a big deal. Kuchen up there. Kuchen is German for cake, but the Kuchen that I grew up with, yes, is like a sweet dough, which has fruit in it, and then it has a custard. And it usually made of cream and eggs and sugar.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
But Kuchen definitely is one of those, yes.
Thank you very much for your answer, Omi. We're going to throw that into a big pile of other answers. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to your food at Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah.
Hey, Tina.
Hey.
Hi, Tina C. It's also Matt W.
Matt W. Very delighted to speak with you too.
Tina, we're on the podcast right now.
Uh-huh.
Quick question.
Yes.
Is there a food associated with a certain region? Meaning, if you go to a certain place, you have to eat that food.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Why?
Give me an example of a food when you go somewhere, like a specific region or something, you have to eat that thing when you go to that place.
I know, like in Nebraska, you're supposed to eat runza, the cabbage burger, cabbage buns.
What?
Oh, yeah.
That's a big thing.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, runza is like Nebraska has a restaurant named that.
What is it?
But you're talking about like even a runza? I don't know. Tina, what do you think of when you think of a runza?
Well, it's cabbage and hamburger and onions cooked up, and it's wrapped in bread, in dough. It's a little cabbage bun.
Really? My face is making a shape. Is this strange? Is it like a pie?
No, it's German. It's a German food.
Huh.
It's like do you say a pasty or a pasty?
Pasty.
A pasty.
A pasty. A pasty is what women wear.
Okay, so that's the nipple cover.
That's the nipple cover.
Yeah, well, I mean, some guys. I mean, it would be okay if a guy wanted to. I mean, a guy could. The guy might be right now.
Oh, only Tina could
really
do
judgy,
that.
Tina.
Okay,
Love it.
a runza. That's the answer.
In Nebraska, I think a lot of Germans from Russia settled in that area. And so I think that's why that's quite popular.
Thank you, Tina.
Yes. Talk to you later.
And we're all together. Tim, Destin, Tim.
What's up,
Pleasure to talk
Tim?
to both of you guys.
Yeah.
Not too much. Just finished unloading a truck. We are in the process of moving.
Oh, great.
Well, I'm happy to interrupt. I don't know quite what I say to that. Congrats
Thanks for
on the
being
move.
Thanks. No, it's a good break.
Thanks for being a patron, Tim.
No problem, man. I enjoy it.
Thanks for supporting the program and all of that stuff, but we have more pressing business than anything about Patreon. And that is, we're doing an episode right now about different types of local food that if you go to a place, there is a local food associated with that place where whenever you go there, you got to eat that. And if you hear somebody else is going there, you tell them, like, you got to try this thing. What is that thing for you, Tim?
So I'll say three places that I've lived most recently. Louisiana, definitely either something with crawfish, whether that be etouffee or gumbo, or if you get there during crawfish season, find a friend to take you to a crawfish boil. In Texas, definitely the barbecue. And then Ohio, I really don't know an answer to that question. I wouldn't say that the food here tastes bad, but I wouldn't say that we're really known for anything either.
I've heard chili in Ohio.
In Cincinnati, that's true, but if you tell that to somebody from like Texas, that's probably fighting words because I like both, but they're very different. There's no beans in Cincinnati chili. It's more a cinnamony taste. Like I said, I like it quite a bit, but it's just different.
I don't want them's fighting words from a Texan. That's one of the scariest phrases I can imagine coming from a certain type of. I don't want them fighting words from a Texan. What about cinnamon rolls? Do you do cinnamon rolls with the chili in Ohio?
I've never tried that, but if you go to like Skyline or Gold Star, which are the two big, Skyline is bigger than Gold Star, but they're the two Cincinnati area chains. It's like a 3-way, 4-way, 5-way. A 3-way is chili, onions, and spaghetti. 4-way, you add peppers, and I'd have to look at a menu to remember what a 5-way is. But you add something else to it.
I was in Columbus a couple weeks ago, Matt, and I heard about the 3-way and the 4-way. You have the base is the spaghetti, and then you put different things on it. And according to the number of things you put on it, that's the number that it's called. It's very strange. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Intimidating.
Tim, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Brady H. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man. How are you?
I'm good. Every time I see something incredibly fluky and goofy happen in the world of American sports, I think of you. I'm like, I'd like to have an enchanting conversation with Brady about whatever this weird thing is that almost never happens, that just happened, because he'd appreciate it.
They're my favorite things. Love myself a good trick play or something.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question, Brady.
Yeah.
We're doing a quick episode on foods in certain places, and so the question is there a particular place that when you travel to that place, you have to eat that food, and like it kind of means that region to you in your mind?
Oh, I mean, I'll always have a hot dog in New York.
What makes that hot dog different than other hot dogs?
Well, Americans do better hot dogs. The buns are very good with American hot dogs. Like, other parts of the world try to get a bit too creative and healthy or rustic with their buns. I just want pure sugar and fluff to have made my hot dog bun. I mean, the big thing is when I go back home, like going home is like all you do is seek out all your nostalgia food. The various chocolate bars and crisps and things that you grew up with that you can't get anywhere else in the world. So it's just like a 2-week festival of buying all that stuff at every gas station and shop you go into.
If I go to Sydney, what is the local treat that I need to get?
Adelaide.
If you go to Adelaide, pie float. So when you can think of fill them with like meat and gravy. Imagine meat pie. All of them smaller than a family pie, individual size, about the size.
The connection's so bad. I'll just say what I think Brady's saying. Yeah, when you get a meat pie, it's like a pie with meat in it, and it's got gravy.
I haven't got to the good bit yet.
It's got gravy, and it's a bit tart.
Tart?
That's the word. Like, seriously, I thought I was the world's worst person to accent, but it is definitely. I haven't got the good bit, haven't got the key bit here, out the delicacy. So those are pretty standard things in Australia, but there's a certain place in Adelaide where this delicacy, where they fill a bowl with thick pea soup and then float the pie on top of the pea soup like it's a boat, and then you smother the top with ketchup, and that's called pie floater, and then you just kind of eat it and it all kind of mush into this terrible ulcerous slush, but it starts off looking quite weird. And then
a pie floater sounds like the kind of prank you would play on an outcast boy in middle school.
Yeah, well, that too. But
that too. Yeah, sure. I can see it.
If you Google the pie floater, it's a very strange looking thing.
I'm doing that.
You see the pea you'll see. Look for one with pea soup and then ketchup all over the top.
Oh yeah.
Go like the goop.
Oh
yeah.
That's gross.
That doesn't look good at all.
Adelaide people will tell you like it's a delicacy and how proud they are of it, but none of us ever eat it.
It's like the time I went to Inyakern, California, and they told me to eat the peanut butter pizza. It was the worst. That's all we needed, Brady.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Later.
So it was really hard to hear Brady, but I think I got pie floater. Is that what you understood?
He said those two words in that order. Yes. Yes. Unironically, someone named their food.
Oh, he's still there.
Pie floater.
He's still on the line.
I'm getting like every 8th word. I hope they're all offended.
Take it easy, Brady. We'll call you later. I said I'm still here, I'm still here, buddy.
I'm badly burned, but I'm still alive.
Oh, I'm sweating. That was a disaster.
That's the worst segment we've ever done ever, and it wasn't his fault.
And even the subject matter was awful. We learned about a pie floater, a pea soup pie floater, and ketchup on it. This is awful. Oh, I'm sweating. Oh, man. Oh, okay. Are we done?
I'm sweating too. That works on me.
Are we done?
I'm hanging up on you. I'm calling another patron.
All right. Hang it up.
I'll be back.
All right.
Hello, is this Matthew?
Yeah, it is. Hi.
Hey, Matthew. Thanks for being a patron.
Yeah, you got my brother here with me, too. Hello.
What's your name, Matthew's brother?
Joe.
Joe, nice to meet you, man. Okay, lightning round. Here's the question. What is a local regional food, either where you live or somewhere you like to travel, where when you go there, you got to have this food. You can only get it there.
So Speedies, it's a marinated meat cut into like cubes in Binghamton where we live and like southern tier area. And they have a thing called Speedy Fest. And we always have Speedies when we go over to our mom all the time for dinner. You grill them and you put them on.
What state is this in?
New York. Sorry, Binghamton, New York.
Ah.
Yeah. So they do like a whole festival here for Speedies, and they like have different people enter a competition and like vote on which method is the best, and like different sauces and stuff. But that's the thing around here. They have hot air balloons. That's our like go-to meal even when we go over to our mom's.
It's on the local news all the time, so it would be Speedy Fest would be a huge thing.
Yeah,
and there would be like a lot of people that go to it.
I just Googled it. Is this Speedies Spiedies?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now I just caught on.
It's really great. Yeah. And like it can be cubes of chicken, but it can also be like cubes of pork or lamb or veal or venison or beef, and usually people eat it on like a roll.
Guys, Bare Naked Ladies and Martina McBride played Speedy Fest this year. You had Bare Naked Ladies. This is not a small thing.
No, it's been going on for a long time. Like this area is a really like a melting pot of a lot of stuff. They also do something called Restaurant Week. It's like early, I guess it depends on the time of year, but there's like 50 so restaurants around this place that all do different stuff.
Matthew, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a garbage plate?
A garbage plate.
Or a hot?
It sounds familiar. What is that?
Like it's called a hot?
No.
Okay, cool. So
what is that?
It's hard to explain. It involves pointy hot dogs, but it's in a different part of New York. So it's interesting that you say that you don't know where that is. And I mean, you've never had that and you're in New York. Interesting.
Gentlemen, thank you very, very much for telling us about local food. I had never heard of a Speedy before. Am I saying it right? A Speedy?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, and thank you for supporting the program, by the way, too. Like, that's awesome, too.
Yeah, thanks for being wingtips ours.
Absolutely. Our pleasure.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Right. Are you there, Henry?
I am.
All right, Matt, you there?
Hey, Henry. How are you, man?
I'm doing well.
Got a quick question for you, Henry. For you, man, we talked to you a long time ago on the episode about vegetarianism and all that, veganism.
100 episodes ago.
That was crazy.
Wow.
So, is there a food that you have to eat when you go to a certain place, like a region? Like you go to this region, you know you got to eat this food when you go there. What you got?
We're seeking the vegetarian perspective.
Oh, because the funny thing is that the first thing that jumped into my mind was kangaroo in Australia.
Okay, are they made of vegetables?
No, they are not. But
they are meat now. Okay.
no, actually, I need to go because somebody just showed up at my house to pick up a snowmobile from my garage.
Oh, sorry.
But let me think if there are any other things for that. I mean, you could say like pizza in Italy, right? Like I'm sure you can make vegetarian pizza in Italy.
That's good. Yeah, it's literally that long of a phone call. Doesn't matter. We're good.
Yeah. I like the kangaroo answer. Congrats on moving your snowmobile.
Thank you.
Later.
It's not mine, which is why it's getting moved.
Okay.
Later, man.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care, Henry.
All right, Jeremiah, we got you?
Yeah.
Matt, you there?
Hi, Jeremiah.
Thank you so much for supporting the program. We really appreciate it, Jeremiah. We are doing a strange episode where we call people and ask them the following question. Matt, would you like to ask away?
Oh, I'd be honored. This is the question. Is there a particular regional food that whenever you travel to a certain place, wherever it might be on planet Earth, that you're like, I have got to get that food? And then if somebody else travels there, you're like, hey, when you're there, you got to eat this.
I would say clam chowder.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you ever come up to New England, you have to get clam chowder. And, you know, Rhode Island has a different recipe from, you know, Maine and Massachusetts. Really? And it's a whole argument about which state has the best clam chowder. But if you're up here, you have to have clam chowder.
It's regional then.
What's it like? I've never had it.
Is this all inspired by the trash plate?
Yeah, the garbage plate.
Yeah. So my wife's from out there, and she has sworn me away from the garbage plate. She said I can never have it.
She's a good wife. You have a very good... I saw photos of it. I'm not going to do that. She loves you very much.
The hot dogs
you
were
hold on
pointy.
to her. Never let her go. Treat her like a queen.
I really do. But if you guys are ever in New England, clam chowder. So it is absolutely the must-have out here.
So tell me about the different clam chowders. Like if you how are they different?
Ooh, somebody else might know more than me. But I think there's a different ratio in terms of like cream. I think somewhere they have a tomato-based clam chowder. And up here, we completely shun that idea. And then there's like the amount of bacon. I mean, each restaurant has their own recipe. Up in Essex, Massachusetts, they have a whole clam chowder festival where you can go to different restaurants and taste them. I actually experienced clam chowder ice cream there.
What?
Oh, no.
No.
Which it's probably the weirdest thing I've ever had, but surprisingly wasn't disgusting.
Where are you from exactly? Like what region?
So I'm from central Massachusetts, just north of Worcester.
Awesome.
So
yeah. Jeremiah, thank you so much, man, for adding color to this palette. It's great. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
All right, guys.
Later. Bye.
Bye.
Cliff, you there?
Got you both.
Awesome, man. Hey, dude.
Hey, Cliff. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, good to talk to you guys.
Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. We really appreciate it, Cliff. Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of the first time I've paid for something free and bragged about it.
I've been doing this for a long time. I think that's my favorite way I've ever heard that put.
That's pretty good. Thank you. So Cliff, we got a quick question. We're cramming in a bunch of people here. The question is, we're talking about food in certain regions. Is there a place that when you travel there, you have to have that food? You can either talk about you in Texas. Where are you at in Texas there?
I'm just north of Texas, work in McKinney and live south of there between Dallas and McKinney.
Oh, awesome. So
right on.
One of two ways you can answer it. Is there something I need to eat when I go right there to where you live? Or is there another place where when you go there, you have to have this certain food?
Yeah, so landlocked up here. When I travel, I go for seafood if I'm near the coast anywhere. But if you come here, you gotta eat Mexican, you gotta eat barbecue. And if you find an overlap of those two, you're doing really good around here.
Tell me about that.
What's the type of Mexican there? Is it specifically what people call Tex-Mex?
It is. Now you can find Latin, you can find Spanish, and you can find more traditional Mexican food, but Tex-Mex is what people go for around here.
What makes it Tex-Mex? What do I look for? What's the calling card?
If I go to a Mexican restaurant, I judge them by their cheese enchilada. They've got a good cheese enchilada, then they're a good Tex-Mex restaurant. That's just kind of the basic.
That's awesome.
Right on.
That's a solid answer, Cliff. Thank you very much.
You came ready.
Yeah, you did. He's like,
yeah,
Hey, talking about food's easy, man.
Every time I eat at a Mexican restaurant now, I'm going to be like, I would like one normalized. You know how when you normalize a vector, you divide it by its magnitude, and you can get like a unit vector in the direction it's traveling. Have you ever heard of that?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So
who doesn't know? What kind of idiot would? Yeah, I know.
I'm now going to use Cliff's method of Tex-Mex normalization, which is the cheese enchilada. I like it.
Cheese enchilada at Tex-Mex and vanilla ice cream wherever you go to get dessert. That's how you judge them.
Thank you very much, Cliff.
I'm now prepared. Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Matt, do I have you?
I'm here.
Awesome. We've got Ryan from Mobile, Alabama on. How's it going, Ryan?
What's up, Ryan?
Well, officially, I grew up in Mobile, and I live in Tuscaloosa, but I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Oh, T-Town. This man speaks my language.
I knew you'd have some kind of opinion. I don't know enough about Alabama to have strong opinions. Those all sound like towns that are in Alabama.
Yeah, Tuscaloosa. That's where the University of Alabama is. So, Ryan, if I'm going to Mobile, Alabama, what is the one thing that I have to eat while I'm there?
You have to have seafood. I mean, that's and if you can, some Cajun-style seafood.
Winsel's?
Winsel's is on the list. They have some great oysters as well.
I'm from the Mountain West. I live in lumberjack country. I don't know what this is. Winsel?
It's a family name for a restaurant that is known for having oysters on the half shell.
Huh.
And they're really good, Matt. They have these oysters Rockefeller that are amazing. It's so good.
I don't know what that means. I don't know. Is that a special way to prepare an oyster? How is that? What is that about?
I believe they're baked. It has some cheese on it. Destin, do you have better knowledge on that?
That's it. A little bit of spinach on there. It's like Parmesan cheese. It's crazy. Interestingly, they go a long way to take away the flavor of the oyster. You're eating an oyster, but it doesn't taste anything like an oyster. It's great.
But on the flip side, Winsel's has a competition, and they have scoreboards on the wall to see how many oysters you can eat in a sitting. And they have like men's category and women's category, and people are doing 300 and something oysters.
Oh, that just feels like there's going to be consequences for that kind of decision making. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with what oysters do to a person, but it seems like it would do something at that magnitude.
Ryan, we're getting one answer from people, but you also live in T-Town right now. So when's the last time you went to the original Dreamland barbecue there?
I went in 2019, had a cousin in town. That's a great place to go.
Did you get a half slab or a whole slab?
The cousin and I, we split the slab, and of course, they're known for not having any sides. So you just get the all you get is the ribs and bread, white bread.
Yeah, the side is more ribs. Oh yeah, that's working for me. You're speaking my language now.
Dude, thank you so much, Ryan. We really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the podcast too. We appreciate that.
Heck yeah.
Of course. So have a great day.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, do the same, man. Thank you.
Let me ask you this, Matt. So out of everything we heard from all those phone calls, what is the one thing that you want to try?
So it can't be something that I've already done.
Yeah, I guess not. Somebody says, "Hey, you got to try this."
Speedies sound pretty good.
Oh yeah, it does sound good, doesn't it?
It did sound good. It sounded a little bit Chislik-like, but also like it's its own kind of thing. I would enjoy that. And the festival looked really fun. They had good guests. It looked awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I really wanted a cup of clam chowder after hearing him talk about that. That's what I wanted.
No, they do like meet and greets there. They had the evil karate girl from Karate Kid 3. She was at the Speedies Fest this year. And like I could go and just set up a booth for free and just like, it's Matt, come talk to Matt. And then my mom would buy like 6 or 8 different disguises and just keep coming through.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, I'm so proud of you. But I'd know it was her.
This was fun, dude. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for telling me about your garbage plate. And some of this made me really want to go eat food. And other aspects of this conversation made me never want to eat food again, which means I guess we covered the gamut.
Yeah, thank you for telepathically telling me jokes. That was wonderful. I enjoyed that.
Thank you for telepathically receiving them.
You're welcome.
All of them. Cool. Hey, try out some sink weenies and let me know what you think.
That sounds good. Next time I'm eating
I'll
cold
try your
Hoynes,
toaster weenies.
Cold Hoynes at a rest stop, I'll think of you.
Please, yes. But make sure they're not any kind of fancy ones. You want to get the cheapest ones, the one in the generic wrapping.
Yeah.
They need to be like pale and terrifying, and then just run them under that sink water and let me know.
I have to say one thing before we stop. My dad, to this day, I don't know if it was a challenge or what. He used to sit down at the kitchen table, open a can of smoked oysters, put one on a Ritz cracker, put some spray cheese on top of that, and then a little drop of Louisiana hot sauce, and he would just eat it. And to this day, I don't know if it was a test. Like if he was like, let's see how far this boy will follow me.
Oh, my whole forehead is wrinkled up, and my knees are together in my chair, and my shoulders are hunched. That made my whole body react.
I'm going to start doing that to my kids.
I'm never going to do that. Oh.
I'm going to start doing it. I'm just going to go get... I'm going to go get smoked oysters and just open them, sit there and just eat them. And like, what are you doing, Dad? Oh, smoked oysters. They're amazing. You want to try them? No. Okay, cool. You're lost. just like...
I'm having a physical reaction. Oh, mercy. Oh, you're a pretty good dad. I don't know about that, but I'll still say you're a pretty good dad.
You saw
This was fun, buddy. Thank you.
I know. There's so many things, like the picture of the pig lips I sent you the other day. We got to cut this off. I'm sorry.
Those are ready to eat. It says so right on the package.
Bye.
Like pig lips ready to eat. What? We're going? Okay. See you, pal.